Hey, Guillermo.
Hello, hello.
Hey, welcome to come back to our conversation. So, this Guillermo and Lee conversation is a part of the originalizationism concept. So we are building this culture together. And Guillermo is an Argentinian artist living in Slovenia right now. So also can be treated as a European artist. And so we're in the journey of Guillermo, and he's sharing his idea and his concept, his philosophy, his creation. So now we follow this journey to Slovenia.
A little bit before, when I was
Okay.
still in Croatia, it
Okay.
was year 2009, probably, end of 2009. And then we were living in this hill in the coast in a city called Split. And I integrated with these people. More or less, after 3 months of being with them, among them, as I described last time, I had to go out of Schengen. No, I had to go out of Croatia, and I wanted to enter again in Europe. In this moment, it was like Schengen is a space. Something is apparently is the European Union, the countries that belong to it, but the Schengen is some kind of an overstructure on top of that that implies certain restrictions, certain regulations that countries need to somehow update until they can belong to this territory, which is it's another structure on top of the European Union. So not all the countries in the European Union are inside this Schengen. And in this case, like 10 years ago, the border was in Slovenia. Now they changed it. Now it's at the end of Croatia, the border.
Yeah.
So I was the main purpose of getting there in the beginning was to go to visit this person in France and then walk to Tibet. That was the initial idea. But I got so tired by this cultural shock that I decided that I needed to stay calm for a while to recover, to be able to at least learn some kind of language so that I communicate and find a way to make some money and like all kind of stuff. So I was not in the state of like just walking through the Middle East or something. And then the because it was so that I needed so much rest, I decided to go through a period of without being illegal in any moment because I wanted to avoid that very much. I decided to be in one city on outside the border, and then every 3 months move to inside the border, the first city, and then after 3 months outside the border, and then inside the border. Every 3 months for 2 years, I lived like that, and
They
then I
allow,
had it.
they
Yes,
allow you to do that?
yes, very exhausting, but it really saved me because I was too weak at the moment to try any kind of adventure, and this was adventure enough for me. So I have this strange situation where I had like two cities that were quite differently from each other. The culture, no, one was in the Mediterranean and a specific place with a specific history and everything and type of culture or something, identity. And the
Yes.
other was Ljubljana was a city inside more continental Europe with much more German influence in the architecture, in the culture everywhere. So it
Yeah.
was difficult. It was really very different, in a way, almost opposite in a way. So I was creating paintings in the Mediterranean, and people like there are a lot of colors, for example, like South American style, full of colors, very vibrant. And when I went to Slovenia, they wanted paintings that would have mostly green, green color. This will sell better, And then this was this period where I was really in the very beginnings of trying to find out how to establish some kind of income through art. And I was really without much tools, but with a lot of passion and determination to just keep going. So I was selling paintings in the street, not even paintings, like drawings on A4 or even A3 format. No? So I was doing watercolors of the things I saw, mostly. Very little from imagination, but because the place was so amazing, I was drawing the buildings. This is a very old Venetian and Roman town with these columns. They are all broken, and there are some buildings that they are still standing. And a very, very nice place. Everywhere you look, it's like very beautiful, very picturesque. So eventually I end up going to Slovenia, but I wanted to describe a little bit before the experience with this friend. Maybe I will do it next time. Because there was a character in this city in Split that became my very good friend, some kind of foster father for me. When I was selling paintings in Split at the beginning, at some point, one guy came and invite me to eat with them, invite us. I was with his girlfriend, invite us to go to have lunch with him. And then we connected super well. We were talking for hours at his home or something. And when it came the moment to leave, I had his contact and his invitation to whoever I wanted to come back, and I could even live with him and everything. So we moved to Slovenia, and I think it was February. So it was snowing, and we had like summer shoes or something, barely. And then we went down there from this train, and the first person we found on the tunnel of the train in the station was a person that lives in the streets. Here they call them Krali Ulica. It's like the kings of the streets, but it's basically a homeless person that he saw us with the backpacks and with our face of like a tourist or something, but like a hitchhiker. And then he asked immediately, where are we from? But he was talking in Spanish. He realized that we speak Spanish because, I don't know, he was in Spain at some point. He was around 50, probably, really, really, really worn out person, worn out from the alcohol and this tough life. And he invited us a coffee. You know? This homeless guy get us to a coffee, and he started to have a conversation with us. And then he put out a paper, and when he knew that we needed a place to sleep and where to eat and everything, he gave us all the tricks that homeless people can, where they can get food and where they can get shelter and something. And he prepared us in this way. This was the first encounter with the first person in Slovenia. You know? And then he was really, really fine. Like it was like the guardian at the port, at the door, no, waiting for us. And it was so surrealistic, the fact that he was talking in Spanish, which was the only language I could really understand. So it was really he died already like a few years ago, but it was really very somebody I was really grateful for this random event, because in a way he directed our first steps there. You know, we could go in a completely different destiny if we wouldn't follow his guidance. He sent us to cultural places. No, there was one squat, and then there we couldn't find any place to sleep, and then we went to the other squat, and there by chance again we found a Spanish girl on the door of the squat, and she invited us inside where she was living momentarily, and she even gave us her key, because I think the next day she was going or something. You know, she has spent some time there, and she just also was there to give us the key or something, and then she went away. And then we live in the squad for 2 weeks, I think, approximately. It was really, really cold and snow, and there was like an old factory falling apart where very many different people were living in different areas, because it was a huge place called Rock. And then, so this was the first, and it's very much in the center of the city. So from the window, I was in this completely unknown place in the middle of the winter, looking at the river and these buildings, Austro-Hungarian architecture. It was really strange for me because I was already used to this experience in the Mediterranean coast. 3 months there with all these people, I kind of got used to all this landscape and the sea and the things that happen there. And suddenly I'm again with snow and in this place. And well, we got one kind of area that was like, let's say a room, but it was a huge place, very hard to hit. And then they were everywhere around. There were the broken floor with good and broken floor, let's say, over beton, because the whole structure was made of concrete, and they glue with some black thing, apparently this wooden floor to the floor, but it was broken everywhere. So I was burning the floor to heat the place, so we could be kind of normally temperature. And then we were living there for 2 weeks, and then I found a lot of sheets for the beds, no, because many people went and lived there for years and years. There were all kind of piles of sheets and things hanging from the places, and so I had this idea to make some paintings. And I found, by chance, I don't know for which reason, there were like blocks of wax. And so, and I found these fabrics, and I only had to go and buy the colors. And then I was burning this floor, and we had nothing, really, zero of anything. I don't know, we were really broken. And then I started, maybe in a way, to somehow process all this crisis and all this lack of resources and everything, and the shock. I focused in this painting technique that I know a lot. I already knew a lot. It's called batik, and you do it with hot wax, and you dye color. You dye the fabrics into colors subsequently, and then you create paintings which the light can go through them. You don't put them on the wall. You can put them on a window, let's say, or wherever you put them. You make a light box, but they are made in such a way that they need light to go through them, like stained glass, let's say, in the churches. That's the technique, the way I use it. And so I engaged in this. I made like some series of batiks there. Probably was my main activity, because outside it was very hard to do anything. It was too cold to try to play the music or something. And then we got along there. We met a place, a cultural center there, where it used to be a jail. And some architect and a group of friends, also architects and different type of professions, they occupy this place at some point, and they remodeled it completely in order to purify the past of the jail. And they make architectural modifications in order to reprogram or invert the years of psychological torture and physical that happened there. So, for example, one of the things they modified, there were like rows of jails on one side, on the other, and then they modified the floor, and they made it slightly like the base of a tube. There was like, the floor was like that in the beginning, like a convex surface. the corridor in between the doors, no?
Mm-hmm.
In between the row of doors and the other door. And then they inverted it, because they wanted to make the person that is going out of the jail, they wanted that the first step they give outside is it's easy. So there was this angle towards the center. And a lot of details of that sort that were like designed to reprogram the experience of the building. That was basically a prison of the Austro-Hungarian Empire for many years. And then when they went away, when the Austro-Hungarians dissolved, I don't know, different governments keep using this as a prison. So well, they created that thing. They had a cultural program there. they had concerts twice a week or something like that, and we got friends with them, and they were happy to have that we have an exhibition there in all the windows. And so I started this collaboration with this place that lasted for around 6-7 years, and eventually there was some kind of differences there that I have with the municipality, and then I stopped coming there. But yeah, we have this very, very special person there that was some kind of mentor, like a very well-educated architect who was telling us all kinds of secrets about architecture and the past of Slovenia, and very deep stories that very, very few people know or talk about. Very, very mysterious and open place. So well, this is there was another location there. This is somehow what were the first things I did when I arrived in such a new place without knowing anybody or nothing. Then we found another place very nearby in this other cultural area where it was some people that have like sewing machines, and they had this techno music running all day, and they had some kind of bar or coffee place, and then you could go there and hang out for the coffee, or you could work with these machines. I don't know why they had sewing machines, but then it was ideal for me because I needed to work with this. Once I made these paintings, I wanted to frame them, and I used a technique with the sewing machines, and I connect the same fabric, also waxed and colored, as a frame around the painting, and then with this I create a way that you are able to hang them somehow, some device. So I work a lot there, and I was also writing things with the sewing machine. You can use it for writing letters, like handwriting. It's a slow process, but it's possible. So I was writing all kind of messages also on the paintings. So I spend a lot of time in this place, and these were the two places where I started to collaborate the most. From this squad, there was some kind of social center in the squad that was people that were helping migrants and whoever has problems with paper, minorities with difficulties with the paperwork or something. And we asked them, we told them their story, that we just arrived and we don't know nothing, nobody, and that we are living in one of these areas in the squad. And we asked if they could get us a room somehow to rent. So we would have water or something, because in the squad there was nothing. And they said, no, it's impossible. Like, many people are searching. It's very hard to find. Okay, but we will do it anyway. And then in one day, we got somebody who were searching for a person for a room for 3 months, And then very quickly, in 2 weeks, since we arrived, we already moved to a room in a house. And the owner of this house was like one girl that we became friends since then. Very special person. And then I live in this place for 3 years, in this house. But yeah, in every 3 months, I would come back to Croatia, and in Croatia I would meet the same people than before and try to find ways to paint things, to sell them in the streets, or to do some kind of artistic work somewhere. It was really, really difficult, but it was, I don't know, I was into that, in a way. It was the spirit of the moment. It was about that. So here it comes like a 2-year period in which I am having like these two parallel lives, where I'm in the Mediterranean city where everybody was broke, but they were really relaxed and very, let's say, extroverted, let's say, society in a way. And then it was when I first learned to have go to coffees, because it was probably the first time in life that I sit in a coffee and I start to understand the ritual of sitting in a bar in the public space. And because it was so unknown for me, I access to it from a most anthropological understanding of it, and I understood, like, actually, yes, you pay the coffee like very expensive, probably wasn't expensive for this lifestyle or for what people know a coffee should cost. But for me, it was like, I remember in Buenos Aires, I never went to a coffee because I couldn't understand why would I pay, let's say, €2 for a coffee. With €2, I can buy half kilo of coffee and make coffee for 1 week. You know, it didn't get into my mind the idea like what was the benefit of that. And then I realized in Split, because everybody's in the coffees all the time and they spend a lot of hours in them, and all the coffees are full and there are hundreds of them, one in front, they're everywhere. And then I realized that actually you rent the space by consuming something. And then this is like a private space within the public space, because it's not private like you don't want to see anybody. You want to be with others at the same time in the crowd, but you want your independence within this crowd. And then you have your own table and then you buy something, and the bar is providing not only the beverages, but also the rentable space that you can animate in any way you want. You know, I was fascinated by the idea. And then I became very happy with this ritual of like just sitting in the public space and having conversations with people and enjoying this. The one of other things that I saw that people here usually do not perceive directly because they are so used to it is the level of peace, social peace. No, like you are in a crowd giving the back to a lot of people and looking people in their partial intimacy, and nobody's afraid of anybody. You know? There is a sense of peace that has to be granted in order for all these people to be so focused in their intimacy, which is at the same time exposed to the public sphere. And obviously there is no threat at all, because if there would be any kind of threat, people would be more like in a different attitude. No? They would be more vigilant, more alert, more looking around. Maybe somebody protecting them or something. So I'm fascinated by all these elements. You know. And then one event that happened in the city, I think is the second time I went back. We have there is a normal thing here that happens, that people get approached to you because you are an artist or something, and then they really want to help you, like from nowhere. Maybe it's related with my character, or maybe it's just good luck, or but there are some people that really feel interested by this artistic life or mindset, and they really try to give you some kind of opportunity, whatever they can do, you know. Mm. So some girl contact me with like an old lady. One girl that I found like that, no, she contacted me with an old lady who was the president of an institution that deal with the emigration of Croatian people outside in the world. So it has a specific name, and then I think in every country of this that were at some point in history many people went away, there is an institution taking care of somehow the communications with these people and whatever they need, or maybe the second generation that wants to come back to the country, or third generation even. So this lady organized for me an exhibition. I already had these paintings that I made in Ljubljana, and and then I brought them to Split, and then they organized an exhibition for me in a library. Uh, so I hung all these paintings or something, and she wanted to help me to promote. So she brought a journalist. This is all these things were happening for me first time in my life, and I had a lot of prejudice and a lot of problems with most of these structures. You know? The exhibition idea, the journalist idea, they were all things that I had. Even the coffee were even all new structures that I had to somehow get used to them. And then I talked with this young journalist, and then at some point I was more naive at this time, and then I just tell him my stories or something, and I told him that when I came to Split the previous time, a police told me that I was not allowed to sell paintings on the street, and that I have to go, otherwise he will have to take me in or something. And then I tell this story to him, and he goes and tells this story to to his editor, and then they put in newspaper my photo, my face, with the paintings, and the big title that says the police want to throw him out, and this institution for migrants organized him an exhibition in the main library. They found it very juicy as a contradictory thing. Like some people want to kick him, and the others are giving him like a prominent place. But for me, I was so afraid that I didn't want to go out to the street because it was my face. If I was walking on the street, people would recognize me and say like, you have this exhibition in this library, something. And I was afraid that police will catch me, that they will, I don't know, deport me or something like that. And they explained me many times that this was something just to take some attention, but it was no risk for me of any kind. And actually that was a positive thing. But I remember the shock it's like that when you don't know what is going on, you can imagine all kinds of things and behave in ways that they are completely decontextualized in a way. They have nothing to do with what is really happening, but you just hallucinate on your own experiences. So this was and then in the end, this lady from the library where I make this exhibition, we became friends. Also, she was like 70 or something, and she actually got me a wall inside the library where they pay me to make a mural painting that was related with the name of the library, and I made some composition. I can show you this painting another time. So I spent also like 2 weeks painting this mural painting in the library, and I got like a honorable person card for the library, for 1 year. So I had this plastic card that says like special guest or something, and I could access to everything in the library. It was really this process, like therapeutic process of feeling like that completely exposed and completely vulnerable, and getting all these signs of respect and appreciation from the culture, from the society, the exhibition, the trust of this, the trust of that, the mention, how the people were naming my experience in a way that was not what I was feeling. I was feeling like a pariah. I don't know how to say pariah in English, pariah or something like that. Like somebody without nothing, because I really had nothing, materially. And people were reading my experience as some cultural value. And the process was always like that, in both places, in Split, in the Mediterranean, and in Ljubljana. Always I got the same type of feedback, and I remain within this. Instead of trying to search a job somewhere in a pizzeria or something, I remain within this field of culture, living in the worst cases from the streets. I'm in the sense of selling my art in the street or playing music in the street. Otherwise, I got, I don't know, different type of things. Selling artworks was probably the most thing I did for 8 years around. Where really didn't want to have any other kind of ways to make money. I had this conviction and this spiritual pursuit of living from art because I thought that was an artist has to do. But well, eventually I found many years later, I found some other ways to make money. The last thing I'm doing now is teaching, which I never did before. So then I think this is like, this is a period where it's a lot of different stories that happen in these 2 years. 3 months in one city and 3 months another. And then I remember just the last thing I will mention is like in Ljubljana, you have a big building, a big business building with a clock on the top.
Yes.
And from many parts, yeah, of course you were there. From many parts of the city, you can see the clock with the date and the temperature and the timing. And I remember the sensation of having just 3 months to do something there, make some money, create some connections, make some small project that I could finish in 3 months, and then exit again, and go through the border and go again to Croatia and do the same. In Croatia, the experience was a bit different but in Ljubljana, I remember watching all the time this date, on top of the sky almost, constantly reminding me of how many more days I had of permission to be there. And these are incredibly painful experiences, But it's not that they are painful, that they neutralize you and then you fall in the floor, unable to do anything, but it's more like a very deep state of stress, The feeling of like you are not in your place, that's why you need to move out, and then there's nothing you can do about that. And the pressure to establish like very short lives, like you have 3 months to make a life and then it's over, and then you need to make another and then another. Oh, I'm so happy that I don't experience this anymore. Yeah. So maybe next chapter we can do a few stories more about, because it was a period of 2 years, and highlight maybe some other aspects of this. And then eventually I chose to be in Slovenia. It was the safest place for me. Yeah. But there are many stories also related to why I choose that, and which were the characteristics of society and the landscape that leads me to take this decision.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating. I mean, I also thought about that kind of lifestyle before. If I can,
It's very hard.
maybe I can do half a year in Canada, half a year in Europe, like that kind of idea. But no, I thought about that. Even just by thinking, I feel it's too stressful. No, no.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it was interesting you share those period you had, and yeah, um, was fascinating today. And thank you very much for continue sharing your ideas and your journey with us.
Oh no, I'm very happy. I'm now here in Slovenia. It's a place. It's this place where they do ceremonies. Some friends and they are building a tent, a tipi actually, some kind of tent.
Mm.
And they have this incredible terrace with a roof. It's like an incredible place, and all nature around. I came to help, but then I knew that we would have the conversation, so I make sure that we have some internet. And then I was continue the day helping them to build.
Yeah.
We had some ceremony now in the weekend, so a small community of people.
Yeah, that's nice. So thank you very much for today, and we'll continue next time.
Yes, we continue next time.
Yes. Ciao.